Oh, we are live in 3, 2, 1.
Whoa, we're live.
Oh, that works.
Oh. One sec.
Record. And I'm only at 85% CPU usage.
Congratulations, you done it.
I've done it. I did
There we go.
overclock my CPU to 4.5 gigahertz.
Smokes.
From 3.4.
Are you noticing a difference with the streaming?
What? Yeah. It's definitely less CPU usage because there's
Neat.
more CPU to use.
Join us for ETA until Ervin turns into a blue screen.
There might be a fire in the middle of the show. Don't know.
If Ervin cuts, call the fire department.
It's a,
Because I don't have my new cooler in yet. So...
what?
Hmm?
You're overclocking that high without a new... Is your cooler broken?
No, I have a cooler. It's just an air-cooled one. I got a water-cooled
That high without a new... Oh.
Hmm?
What? Nothing.
Yeah, I'm overclocking that high with an air cooler. The temp's been fine, but it's a little...
We'll find out.
It's a little high.
We'll find out.
But my new cooler is at the office, so I have to pick it up after the show.
Gotcha.
All right. I'm going to post the stream to our Facebook.
I am going to make sure that my Twitch account is streaming...
We also
Alright.
now also have the chat in our show. So,
What do you mean?
in what I'm displaying.
Oh, the chat appears?
Yes. So, and it
Ah.
combines all the different sources. So right now we're streaming to YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope.
Mhm.
And any of those messages will show up in one place
Where do they show up?
in our feed. In our video
In-
feed. There,
Oh, like
Jeff,
on-
Jeff just wrote on YouTube. On YouTube.
Oh, wait. I see that this is a test. I see that on the Twitch.
Hmm?
I see it on Twitch. This is a test.
Yep.
I don't see it on Twitch.
It's
What,
at the very
live
bottom.
stream?
It's under. See it
Yeah.
on Twitch. There's a punch says "Hey" from Periscope. Hello.
I don't see it on Twitch.
It's at
What's
the
a
very
live
bottom.
stream?
It's under. See it
Yeah.
on Twitch.
There's
So
a
it's working.
punch
Says "Hey" from Periscope.
Yes. That's cool.
Nice. It's a beautiful moment when something works the first time.
Yes.
Where's our Periscope link?
I like that it combines everything.
That's nice. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Because since we're streaming to multiple platforms, yeah.
Go Periscope. Where's our industry for? I gotta like collate all of our links.
I gotta find a new stand for this camera because this is so ghetto. If you saw what this was standing on, you wouldn't just freak. It's bad.
Is it like a textbook?
No.
Oh.
Oh, now I see the message on the stream. Okay.
All right. Got all of our links. Okay. My God, we have too many live links, Ervin.
It's 3.
Yeah, no, I have the YouTube is the banner, but I have our Twitch, YouTube, and Periscope links on our Facebook posted.
Mhm.
The only one that like I put up as the hyperlink or whatever is the YouTube one.
Oops.
Were you able to access the Wall Street Journal article through TechMeme? Okay.
For Tech
yeah.
Meme, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, that
So-
it bypasses the paywall that way.
Okay.
It's a trick.
That they use.
No. It's if you access a direct link,
Oh,
they'll make you pay. But if you go through another website, they don't.
So if we posted the journal article,
No. It has to be a deal between the publisher and Wall Street Journal. It's not. Yeah, it's not that. it's very complicated.
So in other words, go through TechMeme for all of your news.
Previously to this, there used to be a trick if you just Google the article,
Right.
and you would come through Google. It would also work, but Wall Street Journal recently broke that.
Probably for good reason. Because
not enough people were. Everybody was doing that once the word spread, and they weren't making any money.
People were like, "Wait, I can avoid the paywall."
Just by searching for their article on Google and actually, so they broke that. Wish I could see the chat.
So I think we should get started soon because we got some chat action. I think we need to deliver some news.
I have trouble seeing it on my end. Maybe I could make it bigger.
Seeing what?
The chat, so I can see what they're saying.
Oh.
But
I don't know.
And I made it bigger so I can see it. Okay.
Is there like a third-party app you could download for any of this to like, so that way you have a chat window so you can monitor the chat, or all of us could, instead of without keeping a stream open? Because I'm new to this and don't understand technology, obviously. I'm not qualified.
You're not qualified. Maybe.
How'd you get in here?
Get
In where?
Into this podcast?
I don't know.
A friend of a friend. with his good looks. With his
I came in off of a referral as an intern. I delivered coffee really well, you know. I almost got really offended.
No, I would never.
But it's 2018, so I'm past being offended. That was so 2017. Should I change my lower third to match the color of all of your lower thirds, so that way we have a consistent lower third? Or should you change yours to mine because mine is the colors of our...
Or should I change mine to something that neither of you have, so we're all different?
Yes. I like that one.
We're all beautiful.
About to say that.
Okay. I got the links ready. I'm ready whenever you guys are.
Okay.
I am now red.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. Okay.
I'm recording, I'm streaming, I'm ready.
All right.
Ready.
Jeff?
All right. Yep. My name is Jeff. You ready?
Yeah. Yes.
Welcome to iFollow.
Welcome, and Happy New Year. This is I4O coming at you guys with episode 33. It's been a couple of weeks since our last broadcast, but I felt that, and we all wanted to take a nice little holiday break just to kind of let people enjoy their Christmases and their New Year's and all of the holidays that fall in there in and there through. But to get things started, we have a lot of news over the last couple of weeks. Just to read off some of the lists, there's some issues with border agents, SpaceX news, some news from India, some security issues they're going through, and CES this year. So it's that time of year again. It's Christmas part 2 for nerds. Everybody gets to see all the new tech stuff coming out. So to get things started, though, there is a lobbying group for Google, Amazon, and 40 other tech companies that are going to be intervening in a net neutrality lawsuit against the FCC's and ISP's decisions to roll back ISPs and broadband rules. Because I think this is related. This comes with the broadband changes that they are planning on implementing now that they have already rolled back net neutrality in terms of they've already announced that plan and passed that. So does anybody want to kick off or?
I can start with something general. I think that this is something that a lot of people have been waiting to hear. In my personal conversations following the push by the FCC to repeal net neutrality protections, I heard a lot of people saying, "Where's Google? Where's all these big name Amazon, Facebook, Netflix? Where are they? Why are they not saying keep net neutrality around the people? That's what the people want." And here we have the association that represents all of those groups coming out and saying, we're going to fight this. So I'm actually a little surprised at myself for doubting that this would happen, which I did. And it's nice to see them all unified and fighting to keep that free and open internet we all want.
And this comes shortly after the Netflix tweet. I don't know if you guys saw that towards the FCC where they said, in 2018, the internet is united, and this is also linked in the article, the internet is united in defense of net neutrality. As for the FCC, we will see you in court. So that's
a change of lightly. Yeah, well, Netflix was kind of when early talks of this net neutrality repeal was happening, Netflix CEO came out and said, yeah, we're not really worried about this point. We're too big now to worry about it. And there was a huge backlash when the CEO said that, right?
Yeah, we actually covered that.
Yeah, we did. And now it's interesting that they're changing it, right? Because the whole backlash, right? They have to support this. Yeah. Because it's meant to protect the little guys. Yeah, now Netflix is big and they made all the right deals and they don't have to worry about this, but everyone else does, right? Because they have the pockets to pay for extra priority over other traffic over the internet. But yeah, this is important for the internet as a whole.
Yeah, and it says they're criticizing the will of a bipartisan majority of Americans. And they say that the rules, this is from Michael Beckerman, the CEO of IA, which is the representative of Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. He says they failed to preserve a free and open internet. And anybody who has read through these open pages and looked over the past history, which we've covered in countless episodes now, and countless articles of net neutrality, this is just evident of poorly planned and unknowledgeable rules being pushed forward. Like I don't know if you guys heard about the broadband rule that they're attempting to roll through now. The one stating that any service that can provide greater than or equal to 10 megabit per second download and 1 megabit per second upload is labeled as broadband now, instead of a much higher number, which is fine if you're one person, but one person with one device. But that's not realistic for a normal household of the nuclear family with their devices, especially with all the home smart tech that's coming out now that requires internet.
Yep.
But I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on this and following it closely because I want to see where this goes, because it's good to see these companies standing up for their consumer base, and it probably has some vested interest in them keeping this done too, because it'll allow their services to run more effectively if ISPs can keep up with their demands. So this probably benefits them as much as it benefits the consumer.
Absolutely. And they're probably thinking, your Amazon, your Google are probably thinking about things like those smart devices, Matt, where it's, cutting into your overall bandwidth. And if everyone's putting these in their home, if they want to keep selling these products as something you can use easily, they're going to need to make sure that everyone has that bandwidth to do so.
Yeah. I'm excited to see where this goes. So
I'm sure that as we hear more updates, we'll be sending them out and talking about them every week. So
yeah. So, but moving into some other good news, we have border agent searches of travelers' iPhones have skyrocketed in over the past year. So, this comes from the Wall Street Journal saying that the Customs and Border Protection Agency searched a record number of cell phones and other devices at the U.S. points of entry last year. So, most of these travelers, I think we were talking a little bit about this during the pre-show, are non-U.S. citizens. So kind of smells a little bit of profiling. And it's not a good look for U.S. Customs.
Yeah, it says in the article, more than 80% of the devices belong to foreign or legal permanent residents, with less than 1 in 5 owned by a U.S. citizen.
Mm-hmm.
One of the agency of Office of Field Operations, the Deputy Executive Assistant Commissioner for the Agency of Field Operations says, in this digital age, border searches of electronic devices are essential to enforcing the law of the U.S. border and to protecting the American people. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I don't like it. And it says they can only examine information stored on the device, not additional data in the cloud.
Yeah, that's a new written policy that was made recently. Previously, they could search anything that was in the cloud as well. So if you had like your Google Drive app on your phone, they can go into that and look through that. But now, according to now it's a written down rule that they cannot without any reasonable suspicion.
Right. So I guess a general rule of thumb to anybody traveling would be to use a burner phone, something that doesn't have any devices or any data on it that you deem valuable, or something that this could even just be protecting your privacy. It doesn't necessarily have to mean you're a bad actor. Right. If you just don't want people digging through your personal files or your photos or anything you may have, or getting any, as I know it's common for people to use the same password across multiple services. If for some reason they're lying and saying that because they say the passwords aren't to be retained in any way, if for some reason that's a flat out lie, then it's important to kind of clean your device a little bit before you go. And if you lock your device, lock it with a password instead of a PIN or with a fingerprint.
I'm interested what this means, additional data in the cloud. So let's say if you have your Facebook app, can they just launch the Facebook app and look through your Facebook and look through your messages, or do that count as the cloud?
Right, well, that's a good point.
Maybe the device gets put on airplane mode and then they can see what you have on the device already in Facebook. You know, it's like you can't load new data. I don't know, but this is some fishy stuff. I mean, where does this stop? Can they, if you have a flash drive on you, do they get to plug that in your computer and check what's on there?
Probably. I don't think it limits that at all. Also, there's been some news of that. Well, not news, but there's been this saying that going around that they are legally required to allow you can unlock your phone, right? If they request that you unlock your phone with your fingerprint, you can. But if you have to enter a password, you can refuse. Legally, you have the right to do that. If you have a laptop, I don't know if that still stands. So let's say you reboot your phone that has a fingerprint sensor. Every time you reboot, it won't recognize the fingerprint. You have to enter your passcode or a PIN code before you can actually use your fingerprint.
Right.
Well, that was the recommendation from a lot of people is before you go through the checkpoint, reboot your phone, right? Because they have no legal right to make you enter that PIN code.
Well, iOS just added a new feature where you can hit a certain button combination and it forces a password entry. Yeah. So, but it looks like this policy says they can ask for your password now. Yeah. For a search, but
that's why I was brought out like that. So I guess that doesn't.
Yeah. The one thing, and I really hope this isn't the actual verbiage used in the policy, but they say under these rules, advanced searches are allowed if only there is, quote, reasonable suspicion and, quote, articulable facts to support it. Like, I really hope that's not the actual verbiage because that's so vague. Like, that's basically the equivalent of an officer walking up to up to a car after they pull them over and saying they smell weed. Like, I think that I think it reeks of abuse, that verbiage, especially with some of the horror stories that I've heard over the past couple of months and over the past year, even, of just people going through customs and traveling through the U.S. border, and just I don't know. I just really hope that's not what they actually go off of, and there's some much more clear and distinctive reasons to search someone more advanced. And if they do that advanced search, then it involves them connecting the device to a computer to retrieve and copy information off of the device. So, right. I hope this could very easily be abused, and I really hope that they don't take that route. So, but fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But speaking of fun stuff, SpaceX, there's a little bit of news that I really don't know how to feel about this.
Yeah.
So their latest advantage is, and I don't know if I'd call this an advantage, but they can automatically, through the use of onboard computers, blow up their own rocket going into space. So the premise of this problem is an issue of, in case if a rocket launch going off course by a substantial amount and risking a crash, there's usually, how it is now, there's usually an engineer in the control room that sends a signal to the rocket, which blows up the rocket. And apparently SpaceX rockets can do it on its own. So I don't know, that there better be some very good code between a person going up into space and a rocket detonation if they're going to roll that into manned flights.
Yeah.
Because
I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
I also hope it can't be compromised where you can't like spoof coordinates or something. So it'll just like have a competitor blow up SpaceX's rocket.
Because they were saying it has the computer is called the Automatic Flight Safety System, which debuted last year, and it says if the Falcon 9 rocket goes outside its prescribed bounds when launched from Cape Canaveral, it can activate its own self-destruct sequence. So this comes from some recent changes to some flight patterns, and the U.S. Air Force, this article mentions, is considering launches to the polar orbits from Cape Canaveral, but the flight path is only viable if they don't need to be tracked for range safety reasons. So this means that SpaceX could be the only company who would be able to use that corridor into space, because you don't need that person to keep track of the range. The rocket can do all of the monitoring itself, and if it goes off course, it blows up. And I mean, while SpaceX rockets exploding is really no new news to us, the ability for them to do it themselves in a controlled manner for at least unmanned flights is a potential huge advantage that this company could have if there's routes into space. And I wasn't even aware that space travel was this complex with these different routes. I thought it was just a straight shot up.
No.
That's what
it's very it's very dependent on where you're trying to go. What type of orbit you're trying to, because typically it is over the ocean, but if this new polar orbit becomes more popular, it will take it over Miami and Cuba, right? And you don't want anything to go bad over those heavily populated areas, and where the debris will fall down. So you want to self-destruct before it actually gets there. And this AI is supposedly faster than what the decision making that a human could do, which is now what it actually happens, right? They're monitoring the systems, and if it goes out of bounds, they have SpaceX has always, or every space age, right? Every time you launch a rocket, there is always a self-destruct button, right, in case of an emergency. But that previously was done by humans. So the reason that SpaceX did an AI is because it can read the data in real time from the rocket. It doesn't have to wait for the data to come down back to Earth. and be analyzed by a human. If it gets out of range of whatever that range might be, that's not safe anymore, and it still sees that, hey, yep, I'm not over a populated area, I can self-destruct safely.
Right.
It does it.
And there's a couple other advantages too that come from this, which the article goes on to mention. They were saying that this will allow them to undercut competitors by potentially tens of millions of dollars, and because the reason for that is that the automated system means they don't have to pay for the full use of Air Force staff to be used on launch day, so they can reduce the workload and infrastructure by about 160 Air Force staff, which is an impressive advantage that you can offer over your competition.
Yeah, even more than they already have now. Which they're already the cheapest thing to fly into space if you want to send something up there. But it's crazy the amount of savings that they're going to have from this if it works well and is dependable. Yeah. On a side note, SpaceX is launching a rocket later in the next 12 hours. It's a super secret mission, so nobody has any idea what the actual payload is because it's a secret government project from the U.S. So nobody has any idea what the actual satellite does. But yeah, it's planned to launch later in the day today. That's Sunday, January 7th. If you're listening to this live or listening to it later today. And then Falcon Heavy, which is their big rocket, is scheduled to launch at the end of this month, a test flight where Elon's going to send his Roadster to Mars as a test. So
and
just wanted
this actually is a good move into the next part of this article, which is the automated system makes it possible for them to fly multiple boosters at once. And that's good because the Falcon Heavy requires multiple boosters in order to launch. It's going to launch with 3 reusable boosters that will fly back to Earth independently after launch.
Yep.
Right. So there's going to be 3 that's going to be cool to watch. There's going to be 3 of those rockets landing at once.
2 of those will be landing back on Earth at the same time, and then one of those is the one that's remaining has to go further out, so it has to land back on over the ocean, over the drone ship. But yeah, it would be really awesome to watch. Elon Musk tweeted that it should be spectacular either way if it goes well or if it goes horribly wrong and all 3 of them blow up. So he's not very up to. Well, he's playing it safe, right? He doesn't know. It might all the entire rocket might blow up, but either way, it's gonna be spectacular. He said.
Yeah, well, there's an even higher chance because if they go off course, then they're definitely going to blow up because they're debuting that technology on that launch.
Exactly. But the launch for so cheap. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that car inside that booster is priceless. That's Elon's personal Tesla Roadster. The very first one was made. Yeah. Number 1, serial number 1.
Oh, man. Are they going to launch serial number 2 if this one blows up?
I don't know.
He probably has real serial number 1 in a garage somewhere. He just made a duplicate.
Also,
Probably.
He put out a challenge. Someone tweeted him if someone can go to Mars and retrieve that Roadster, can they keep it? And he said, "Yep."
Sure.
So, challenge accepted was the reply from that person.
Oh my god. Now we're gonna be reporting on that.
Yeah, who's the person? Next person is gonna go to actually retrieve his Roadster from the orbit of Mars.
It'll be us, the first I4O episode hosted from a floating orbiting Tesla Roadster. Oh, that's exciting, and I'm curious to see how this works because if it does work, then other companies are going to take this very seriously, and you're going to see savings across the board, especially if they open up that tech. I don't know if they're going to, like they do with Tesla, but it would be interesting to see them open up this tech to other companies to make space flight even cheaper across the board.
While you're on that note of cheaper, I do want to bring up something that's not just related to the actual flights here, but I'm curious to see how this is going to affect the industry in general. If you see this, no need to pay for 160 U.S. Air Force staff to be there on duty because now artificial intelligence is able to do that job. I'm curious to see how this will affect industries like airlines.
Right.
or maybe airports will become automated. You won't need to see those people running around with the waving cones on the tracks telling you where to go. And
or air traffic control.
Yeah, air traffic control as well. Yeah, there's a lot of this. I don't think it's a crazy thing to say that maybe in the next 10 or 20 years, you're not going to see those people on the runways anymore.
Yeah.
Just
I'd imagine
there. Yeah.
that most of the airport would be entirely automated.
Yeah.
Including the pilots?
That would be an interesting proposition, but I think that just for pure safety reasons, they're always going to have a person on board.
Yeah.
Hey,
but if you had an AI, you could seal off the cockpit.
There already is AI controlling your plane.
Well, I know. Yeah. Most of the flight is not actual humans flying it. I know, but
yeah, exactly. Especially landing and takeoff.
So, yeah, they're just there in case something goes wrong.
Yeah. If you're worried about a computer controlling your flight, it already is. So
yeah, has been for years.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. But India's having some problems.
Oh.
Yeah, their national ID database is apparently accessible for less than $10. So
let me get access to
that. Reports suggest that the government's national ID system, Aadhaar, which holds personal data belonging to more than 1 billion people, was compromised. It wasn't down to hackers, at least on this occasion. It was publicized. It was publicized after India newspaper The Tribune paid a man less than $10 in exchange for admin access to the database. Good. So, yeah, they gave them a username and a password, and they were able to access information on any citizen by entering in just a 12-digit number. So, cool. And the article brings up an interesting thing. I never thought these people would be stepping into the tech news, but BuzzFeed tracked down the seller.
BuzzFeed has been stepping up their news actual reporting, not just top 10 lists of the cutest cats on the internet.
Top 10 of the top 10 craziest hacks across the world.
They're still doing the cats, but
they are. Yes.
There's a tab for cats. There should be. But they called reports of the breach fake news. The ruling party. They called that whole thing fake news. So, gaining access by paying a third party isn't really a breach, they say. It's just a very messed up system that can happen when a government uses a string of contractors, and this is the direct quote from the article, to manage a highly sensitive project. It's important to note that this ID system isn't mandatory, but there has been a massive campaign to sign up citizens to this, and it's been incorporated in a range of services such as school enrollment, ration disbursements, and other national government projects. So Facebook even embraced it with a pilot that encourages new users to provide details from their identification. So it's looking like that these national ID systems are needing a bit of security auditing in order to be proven. So I know that I think we reported earlier in the year on Denmark's ID system that had a hack in it. That was using an older form of encryption, which now uses similar forms of encryption to services such as LastPass, which is the top of the line, state of the art encryption. So it would be good to see these systems, especially if they're going to be rolled out on a national level, to be safe. I don't know if that's asking too much. But
safe.
Yeah, it's an important thing to note. But the government shouldn't just call this fake news, especially if it is real. They should seriously consider some better security practices in general, and maybe one of them can purchase a username and find out for themselves if it's actually real information or not, because this is big, especially if it's 1 billion people. It's almost as big as the Yahoo hack.
Seems like this program's got a lot of issues, at least in the words of the citizens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were saying they were saying the data collection is not constitutional, and tons of warnings over security. So I don't know if you saw anything else or if you had a chance to open up one of the other articles they had linked in this or not.
Yeah, there's some more non necessarily technical things like that they're forcing people into this by like not feeding them or something along those lines.
Oh my God.
Because they're being denied government benefits of, I guess, being given food, and like, apparently a couple individuals have died of starvation as a result of not having rations given to their family.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so this seems a lot heavier than just a data breach.
I guess that explains the massive campaign to sign citizens up. Like, not to put that on a dark note, but that.
Oh yeah.
That's awful.
It's odd to me that if that was taking place, that Facebook wouldn't kind of tie those two together.
Yeah.
Their campaign would be to test linking your new account with those ID details, but not care about rationing families. Maybe I don't know enough about the story, but
yeah. But either way, and the article even mentions that there's a lot of uncertainty following these reports. But I totally agree with the footer of the article. India's citizens deserve a much better response from their government than an accusation of fake news.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a statement that applies to a lot of countries in the world.
Yeah. They just don't just dismiss it and do the whataboutisms and just push things away, even if they're fake. Offer empirical evidence that proves it fake.
Yeah.
Tell me it's fake, but prove it too. That's all. Not hard to ask. But to roll into a better topic, not better, but a little happier. And something that isn't fake. The biggest nerd convention of the year is upon us as of January 9th. That'll be this Tuesday from the time of this recording. So
officially, some keynotes are actually starting today. Okay. It's open to the public on the 9th. But we should start hearing actual news coming out. It's starting later today.
One of these years, I would like to go as a tech journalist to CES.
Yeah, that'd be quite fun. Google put up a actual slide. They have a slide.
I saw that.
Yeah.
There's
some big companies, just as like Google, that are going to be joining in on this announcement too. There's talks scheduled from Ford, Intel, Huawei, Verizon, Qualcomm, Hulu, YouTube, which is the Google. There's a ton of people, and it's looking like and for those of you who have not heard of CES, it's the Consumer Electronics Show. It's kind of just it's the big once a year tech conference and convention where all the big companies go and display their prettiest new toys for the year, or detail their direction that the company is going to be going in, or talking about new tech that's not only going to influence their company, but all companies in the industry. So, for example, I think the big talks this year are going to be AI focused, whether it's smart speakers, car integration, just VR and AR and MR, which is mixed reality. And the other one is going to be 5G, because we saw a little bit of 5G in last year's CES, but I think this year that's going to be center stage. You're going to see self-driving cars through 5G, and a lot of the mobile division of CES is going to be focused on 5G. But is there anything that either one of you guys is excited for or wanted to talk about with CES? Because this is looking to be a very good show.
Yeah. Ervin, I don't know if you want to lead off, but I definitely want to talk about the smart home and voice control in homes. This is, I think, going to be a huge topic, because I don't know about any of our listeners or YouTube, but I could not go a day without hearing something about an Alexa or an Echo or a Google Home over the holidays. Mm-hmm. People in my family and other families that I've visited that are not necessarily high up on list of people who are involved in tech are getting these devices and are obsessed with them and loving them and talking about, oh, I should get one in every room and it can control my light bulbs. And now they're saying it can control your mirror and heat up your toilet seat for you, like all this different stuff that's going to be coming around, coming down the pipe.
We didn't put this in the show notes, but Google just announced that they sold one Google Home, either Mini or the regular Google Home, a second from the announcement, or when the Google Home Mini was announced, I think.
Right. Which is
up until the Christmas or up until the New Year's, they sold one every second.
And that's just Google. What was do you remember the statistic too on Amazon? I know it's their highest selling products are the Echo Dot.
Wasn't it like over 25 million devices or something like that? I thought it was a number in the 20 millions, I thought.
Yeah, it's a lot. Overall it's a lot. So you're seeing these in basically a gigantic amount of homes throughout the world and our nation, and this has gone from something that was a dream. Oh, I can control my music in my house with my voice. Now it's happening all across the world, and I think it's really bringing people into that world of voice control and hands-free control, and definitely automation and the Internet of Things. It's coming into your home, and you're seeing it everywhere. I'm really excited to see what they talk about at CES this year regarding what products are coming, what the plans are from each company for the smart home, which will have what voice integration. It's just this is out there. This is happening. I just want to see what direction they're hinting at taking it in.
Yeah, and we saw some cars last year that had the Echo integration in it. So I'm wondering if this year we'll see cars with both the Echo integration and the Google Assistant integrated into it as well. So you may see cars step in the other direction.
Yeah, Amazon just announced that they open up their SDK to have the Echo built into headphones now, just like the Google Home or the Google Now is. That was announced a couple months ago. And also wearable devices, so the people could just build apps on smartwatches that gives them access to the Echo service. I don't want to say the A word and trigger anybody's Echo. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of new integrations, and like we mentioned, a lot of more people are getting access to these devices and they're getting used to controlling things by their voice, and now they're getting more and more comfortable. So if companies are comfortable putting out all these devices that have these assistants already built into it, so they're used to that them using it on their actual device, the device that they got for Christmas perhaps, they can now use it pretty much anywhere in their house. I know I sent you an article earlier in the week, Matt, that Kohler, I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah, Kohler. The people who manufacture faucets and things for your bathroom is getting into the smart home business as well. They're releasing smart mirrors. They already announced at CES they're going to be showing them off. Smart mirrors or smart devices meant to be used in your bathroom.
I think we're going to see a ton of stuff in smart devices, and I wonder if we're going to see any Cortana speakers, because Microsoft has been very silent about their technology and has only really thus far integrated it into Windows products.
Yeah, there are a couple devices out with Cortana capability, but there aren't much. But yeah, I'm curious to see how big. It might be a good gauge to see the ratio of Echo, Google Home, and Cortana, to see which one's more popular. Like what companies are focusing on developing. Maybe they're developing for both for Echo and Google Home, because I know Cortana just launched recently, so it might not be popular yet. Also, the big one that was that was delayed, right? The HomePod, Apple's own field into this, was supposed to be released end of last year, but it was delayed, and we still don't know when it's actually going to be released, but that should be a pretty big player in this space as well. But I know that Apple doesn't really participate in CES at all.
No. I wouldn't be surprised if they announce a budget speaker by the end of the year also. Because I'm thinking, and this could happen, it may not happen. I'm thinking that Apple will probably overhaul Siri at some point in the year because they had kind of teased at it over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
With the improved voice of Siri and some additional improvements to how its querying works. But I'm kind of banking on the fact that I'll bet that Apple has got something at least in the works for the future.
They have to, right? I know, Jeff, you just recently switched over from iOS, and I don't know how much you use Siri, but now you have access to Google the Google Assistant. I don't know what you want to say anything about the comparison between the two, but from what I've heard, Siri is not up to par for any of those.
No, not nearly close. In my personal experience, I used to try and do things with Siri that it just didn't know. It came back like, I don't know what you're talking about. And now when I have the Google Assistant, I'll say it, and most things it can do for me. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, when I've spoken to people who've use Siri as their primary assistant through the day, it's primarily for setting like reminders and alarms, and for like doing the voice to text for like text messages and stuff like that. And that's really it. That's about as far as it goes.
Yeah.
So, anything else? It's like, oh, I can search on. Here's what I found on the web. That's like all it says for that stuff. It'll just search it on, what was it, Bing or Google or, but. Yeah, so I'm thinking that they need to make a push, but it may not be at CES.
It's Google.
The other thing that I'm thinking is going to be a big push that we're going to see is VR and AR, and more importantly, MR. So I know we've seen Google launch AR Core and Apple's AR Kit, and all these things that have come out over the past year, but I think that it's really going to come to form this year with things such as Oculus Go, and the article details that Qualcomm is going to be showing off its Snapdragon 835 dev kit and bringing, like I just mentioned, Oculus Go on board with things such as that. So the 835 is a powerful processor, and it's built with AR and VR and AI in mind. So I'm curious to see where VR and AR is going to go, because I think AR is going to be the big killer, and MR, which is, like I said earlier, mixed reality, kind of like how Google's AR stickers and stuff like it, and Pokemon Go, and as these various services upgrade and enhance their ability to be used in smaller and smaller products. I'm excited to see where VR goes. And
yeah, HEC put out a tweet earlier, I think Friday of this week, that tomorrow they're going to make a new announcement on potentially the Vive 2.0. It's the tweet said New Year's resolution, suggesting that it might be a higher resolution Vive.
Oh man!
So the announcement is tomorrow on the 8th. So I'm gonna keep that tab open on my computer to see what they're gonna be announcing. Yeah, it'd be great to see a higher resolution display on the Vive.
Do you know what time the announcement is by any chance?
I don't know. It's all all it says on their page is 1/8/18.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, New Year's resolution is the title of it, which definitely suggests that it has to do something with a resolution increase, I hope. Perhaps it could also be wireless. It could have native eye tracking as well.
That would be important.
Yeah. And of course, higher resolution. And it could support Valve's upcoming Steam VR tracking 2.0, which it should improve the tracking of it. For sure. So it'd be interesting to keep
random question for you guys. Do you think we're going to see anything more from Google's Project Jacquard this year at CES?
Is that the jeans and the jacket?
Well, that's the specific Levi one that they made, but more specifically, Project Jacquard is a smart fabric which can be used to detect gestures and retrieve information from like touches and stuff.
A truly smart wearable. Right.
Yes, truly is wearable. Yes, but do you guys think we're going to see anything? Because I know last year we saw some like smart shoes and smart shirts, and Google's jacket, the Levi Traveler, I think it was called. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
It's a cool concept, but on their website they do say you can't wash it like more than X amount of times. I don't even know what that is.
Well, I don't know many people who wash a jacket that much, and that's
true, but
I'm curious to see if we see anything from Project Jacquard, because Google's going there. So
I wouldn't count it out, Matt, but I don't think it's going to be the highlight of their appearance.
No, it will not be.
Yeah,
but it's also a $400 jacket.
Yeah, that's not too bad for jackets. What? If you're gonna get like a crazy nice jacket, but then again, you can get the same thing for like what, $200, $150 or something like that if you don't have Project Jacquard built into it. But like jackets can get more expensive than $400, but I don't know about denim jackets.
Bringing it back.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is going to be 5G, especially in the mobile department. I think we're going to start seeing the first phones with 5G support rolling out, as well as I think we mentioned it a couple of times before, that new GPS chipset that's going to be rolled out into smartphones this year, which is going to be a much more accurate GPS. I think you're going to see that rolled into other devices. TVs.
Yeah, TVs are always big during CES. You're going to see a lot of 8K TVs for sure.
I wonder if we're going to see more than 8K.
Probably, but not available for the public, or not any reasonable prices for sure.
It depends what meaning you have behind C, because you can look at it, but you won't be able to comprehend it with your eyes.
Yeah. You'll just see a bunch of people like all struck staring at giant TVs.
Yeah. Also, what are you gonna watch on those 8K TVs? Because literally nothing is 8K at the moment.
Yeah,
except for MKBHD videos.
Yeah, when LG debuted the 8K TV at last year's CES, the only thing they had to put on it was a slideshow of 8K images. They didn't even have videos yet, so it was just like there wasn't even any video ready for it. So maybe there will be. They'll just play MKBHD on a loop on all the TVs.
We all need to upgrade to red cameras. The $50,000 camera.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all we need.
Yeah, simple upgrade, but no big deal. Just take a mortgage on your camera.
Okay, all right. Easy.
I do have one kind of technology, or at least a merging of two technologies that I'd be excited to see, though I'm not entirely optimistic for it happening. Ervin, you were mentioning that smart mirror earlier, I think. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see stuff like that in terms of the home automation and voice control mixed in with augmented reality. I think it'd be really cool if you had something that used a camera like that mirror to like take a picture of you, and then you'd see what an outfit looks like you on a mirror. Like you don't have to wear a headset or anything. So it would have to be able to display it, not really reflect it, and then based on that image, maybe overlay clothes on you. If you could see more things like that, if you could try and imagine what other avenues technology could take in the merging of those two, augmented reality and the home automation voice control, that would really wow me, obviously, because that would be a giant leap into the future. And I guess one other thing that is a personal one is I'd like to see what they say about the Google Daydream, just because I want to learn where that project's headed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see, especially also robotics too is another thing that I'm excited to see as well. Hold on.
Yeah, robotics. In terms of what? Do you want more robots?
Roombas everywhere.
Roombas everywhere.
I want all the Roombas. No, but I think they're going to see, like, I know we saw a couple of robot assistants. It would be cool if we saw robots like that, the little, almost like home droids. To make a Star Wars reference. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There was a couple of them that debuted last year. I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but I'm almost positive you're going to see some robot assistants with like adorable faces running around CES. And go ahead. Go ahead. I was done. I was just wrapping that up.
So I'm very curious of how Intel's booth is going to look during CES this year.
It's just gonna be a fire.
Yeah, the Intel CEO is giving a keynote speech tomorrow. So curious to see that. That's a little preview for our episode later in the week. We're going to deep dive into the recent news about Intel chips. Not in particular, also other chips are affected, but mainly Intel chips of the recent security threats.
Yeah. It's just going to be him.
Spectre M. Spectre M meltdown. Yeah, there's a pretty big news, and we're going to take a deep dive into our new i4O Explains series later in the week.
It's just going to be him with a chalkboard on stage saying what I learned in security school is over and over and over and over again.
There will be a pyre where you can go and throw your chip in, and it'll make it better.
Mm-hmm.
By burning it.
Yeah. Delid your chip by splitting it in half and throwing it away.
Here's a giant magnet. Dude,
yeah.
We'll look away.
Oh, man.
So optimistic.
That's fine. It's fair to be optimistic like that.
Thanks,
but man. Yeah. But a callback to just some of the numbers for CES. On their homepage, they have CES by the numbers for 2017. 184,000 plus in attendance, with 4,000 exhibiting companies, with 1.2 thousand speakers. So anybody paying attention who wants to get a sense of, who doesn't fully understand what CES is or is unfamiliar with it, just to give you a sense of scale. So this is the biggest tech show around the world. And they've been doing it for 50 years. So I wouldn't be surprised if anybody has not or has heard of this. So
keeping an eye on it. We'll be posting on our Facebook page of any news that might come out. I like to look for hidden gems during CES, not like the big stuff that literally everyone's talking about, but like just small things, companies that are doing, not big name companies, but because that most of the time that's where the innovation happens. New stuff, they're trying new things. A lot also to note during CES, anything you see might not actually be real or be released anytime soon. The company might say, "Oh, it's like, yeah, we're launching later in 2018." Yeah, don't take that with a grain of salt every time they say that, because a lot of times, a lot of products that they announce or show off during CES never actually see the light of day.
Yeah, 4,000 exhibiting companies, 3,000 of which are vaporware.
Yeah, so, but we'll be posting stuff on our social media of the interesting things that we might find, so keep tuned for that. Yeah, should be a good show. Should be interesting news coming out of it for sure.
I'm sure we'll have much more news at the end of the week on some of the bigger takeaways from CES.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to try to break down what I think is at least going to survive past the 12th. So I'm excited to see who comes into CES and what people bring to the table. It's always fun to just watch people walking around the floor just exploring the craziest booths that are there, because you get some wild booths that come through. But yeah. So unless anybody has any closing points, I think that rounds off the episode.
Yep, thanks for joining us. And I guess I'd like to leave off by just saying that if you have anything you're looking forward to at CES, or any technology that you'd like us to focus on in our follow-up episode, do let us know via one of the social media platforms. We do like to hear back from our listeners and viewers.
Yeah, and as for those social media platforms, we're available on Facebook, Twitter, and basically all of the social media platforms, YouTube as well as Industry 4.0 all spelled out. We're streaming live on Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch weekdays on Sunday for the episodes. And we'll publish an episode typically 2 days a week now, is the new format. So we got the main show on Sunday and the deep dive on Wednesdays. So with that being said, this has been episode 33, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.
All right, take care.